Hello everyone! Welcome to our very first live stream for Open Multiplayer. Can I get a mic check? Can someone tell me if this is working? Please, Jamie.
Yep.
It is working.
It's working.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard it coming through on the other side.
Yeah, it's quite a delay.
Yeah, that's okay. Alright, hello? What's up? We're finally here and doing this, I guess.
After many days of planning and dreading.
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah.
Maybe we should start by introducing ourselves. So, Self-Claus? Maybe just
That's me. I've been
tell
around
everyone
for
a little bit about
a while.
yourself and what you do here.
Yeah, I think I've been around Samp for like since 2008 or 7. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. I just kind of do the website stuff at the moment. I manage the wiki and a tiny bit of coding, but not too much. These guys are far better at that than I am. But yeah, I do the wiki stuff mainly and the website, so that's kind of my area.
Woohoo. And
Oh shit.
Wireless?
Here we go again.
Hi, I'm Wireless. I've been in Samp longer than you have. I blagged my way onto the beta team before it was even released, so there we go. Been a while. And a former dev. I'm not entirely sure if I need to introduce myself, but there we go.
nice.
Probably not, to be fair.
Probably not.
I'm sure everybody knows you.
Just in case. Just in case.
You never know. I mean,
Josh.
scripters know me, but not necessarily players.
No, I'm pretty sure everyone does.
I'm also the only former dev currently not purged from the client about age.
Nice.
That's
I
an
guess
achievement.
That's an achievement, yeah.
I can remember where else, but not the client.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
Okay, Josh, your turn.
Well, I'm Josh, and I'm one of the main developers of Openmp. I've been in Samp for at least 7 years now. Started programming 6 years because of Samp. And if you've been on the Discord, you know who I am. I'm always there and always able to talk to you if you need any help for anything.
Oh, that was very wholesome. Who are you and what have you done with Josh?
Here we go again.
Okay, Amir.
Well, I'm Amir, and I've been around since 2010, I guess. That's the time I started playing Samp, actually. And I'm just part of openmp development team, and I just kind of help with the coding, stuff like that. Yeah, just that.
Here we go again.
Nice. And Big Etty?
Yeah, I'm Big Eddie. I'm 27 years old. I started playing Samp around 2009. Yeah, I did some contributed to projects, had my own servers, etc. Yeah, and also I'm a contributor to openmp right now.
Awesome.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
And Michael?
I'm just Michael. I've been around since 2007. Owned a few communities in that, fought my way up. These days, though, I pretty much just follow Self-Claus and manage all his projects that he's abandoned. And other than that, I just work on free time on openmp.
He's the surrogate father to everything I've created.
Yeah, pretty much.
Awesome.
Who are you, Potassium?
That is a good question. So I'm Potassium, obviously. I've been in the Samp community since about 2008, 2009, maybe. So like 10 years, or more, I guess. Maths. I'm not a scripter. I keep telling everyone that I will be, maybe one day. I probably won't be, but anyway. I don't really have a backstory. I'm just some random from the Samp forum. And I don't know, I just love this community and want to be a part of keeping it alive, so I kind of just invited myself to this team. So, yay.
Well, that's fine. We do a fairly
You're
important
gladly
job. Like,
welcome.
we've got
Yeah, so I can't do
plenty
any
of
like
coders and things.
any technical things completely over my head, so we just named my role public relations and I just post stupid memes every now and again. But that's okay. Someone needs to. So is there any point in quickly explaining what OpenMP is actually about, or I guess we should, just in case anyone's listening and isn't quite sure. So basically we're all old school players of San Andreas, as you just heard, and we're all were all part of a community called San Andreas Multiplayer. So it's a multiplayer modification for San Andreas, and it's a little bit outdated now, I guess you could say, so we're just kind of trying to breathe some more life back into it, because we're not ready to let our little community die yet. So is that a fair summary?
I think so, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I want
that sounds
to,
about right.
I want to kind of address the big question to start with. About why? There's in some respects, we don't really want to create open.mp. Like, we're perfectly happy playing Samp.
Yes.
It's a nice little game. It does everything we want. But Alcor wrote it. He has the source code and things. He had some help. And in short, he was no longer interested in maintaining it, which is fine and happens to everybody. And I just want to make that clear that I've got no hard feelings to him for that, because everybody moves on eventually. You get new interests. But he decided that he wanted to just take everything down with him. He didn't want to pass on the source code. He just wanted to stop, so he felt everyone else should stop as well. We quite liked it here, so we didn't stop it.
Correct.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Yeah, that's pretty.
As I said, if he wants to move on and move on to other things, that's totally his prerogative.
Yes, that's right. We're not judging. We're just a little bit sad, but that's okay because we're gonna fix it. We
Yeah,
can
fun
do
to move
something
on,
about
you know?
it, so we will.
Yeah, let's move on to the next bigger things.
Yeah, that's right. Alright, so we had a bunch of questions on our forum, which, by the way, is burgershot.gg, so sign up there. So I guess let's just get into them. The most pressing question right now, obviously, is regarding the recent Samp drama. So for those who don't know, the Samp forum and the Samp wiki have been offline for a few weeks now. And we don't want to make assumptions, but it doesn't look like they're coming back anytime soon. I think that's a pretty fair assumption to make.
The links have been removed from the homepage. If it was just a temporary thing, he would have probably not removed the links.
Yeah, that's right. So it doesn't look like they're coming back.
That's no.
So people just kind of want to know what our thoughts are on this. Like, what do we think actually happened? So, open mic. South Claws? Anyone?
Yeah.
It's basically what I just said. Like, Alcor has for years been uninterested. That's why there's just been zero development. And like several of us, when I was in the beta team, we all kept trying to like chivvy him along and release updates and things. And obviously the whole community was like screaming for updates. He didn't want to because he had lost interest. He wanted to move on, and that's, as I already said, that's fine. We don't mind people moving on and leaving projects. It was the fact that he refused to hand over the reins to anybody else.
Yeah.
This is just a continuation of that. The forums were pretty huge. They were not easy to run. It's close to a full-time job, not just moderating them.
Yeah.
And I suspect he's just totally lost interest and decided he no longer wants to do it, but does not want anybody else to continue his legacy. So he's just taking everything down.
Yeah.
I'm slightly confused that the homepage is still there.
Yeah.
I'd imagine that's probably just because the homepage probably costs
Yeah.
next to nothing to actually keep online, whereas the forum probably took a bit of time and expense to actually run. I'd imagine that's why.
You can still download Samp from a main homepage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, at least I can do that.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
But if we complete our mission, they won't have to.
Yeah. Personally, I just hope Calcor's okay. Like, what if he got COVID and he's like in hospital and like
That would be
can't
terrible.
maintain
That'd be
it?
really bad.
What if it just like ran out and he can't put it back up because he's in hospital? Anyway.
I don't know.
That would just be extremely unfortunate.
And then he comes back and
I'd
there's
send him
just
there.
like a mutiny. Anyway.
I mean,
and while he was in hospital, he happened
the
to
lighter
remove
things.
the forum link and wiki.
Oh yeah. Yeah, fair enough, I
Well,
guess.
I mean, we do still have sort of. I'm just thinking we might have heard about that because, like,
Yeah,
through
yeah,
the
we
grapevine
probably would have
of
heard.
beta
You're right.
testers, but
Yeah.
maybe not, because even beta testers barely hear anything. I can speak from personal experience.
Yeah.
People kept asking me, like, when's the next version coming out? I know just as little as you do.
Yeah. But
We
anyway.
have our own private forum, and it's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, he ended up being pretty bad at communicating anything to any of the devs, didn't he?
Yeah.
Any of the beta team.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Time to move on. On the subject of forums, our forum and our wiki seem to be quite popular replacements for the Samp ones, so feel free to check them out.
They are not dead.
They are not
Yeah.
dead. And
They're very active, you're saying, like, more than I've ever seen.
yeah. Particularly
we've
for
had tons
scripting
of-
help. So yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
You go.
The wiki contributions have been great.
Yeah.
Like when the wiki went down, like having loads of people just copying pages from the old wiki onto the new one was like really good. So shout out to
Yeah.
everyone who contributed. Like thank you. That was
Yeah.
really cool.
And it's even better
and
that we've
everyone
had
who's
like loads of
translating as well.
translations.
Yeah, the
Absolutely,
translation
yes.
stuff is great because I think that's one thing that the old wiki definitely lacked. It had like it had a handful of pages that were translated,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, not many. I think
I think it was
Well,
like
definitely
Polish, Brazilian,
educational.
and
yeah. So
but yeah, we lacked a lot.
yeah, translating that is definitely a priority, and we've got some good people to help us with that. So that's brilliant.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just for the record, burgershot.gg is our forum, and open.mp/docs is our wiki. So go there.
Yeah.
Do the thing. Okay, so obviously the next. That scared me. Sorry. The next most frequently asked question, and always will be, is the release date. So obviously we don't have a date. We will never give a specific date because we're all volunteers and do this in our free time. But do we have a rough idea of maybe like a percentage of how far along we are before we can make it public? Like, are we like 1% through? Are we halfway through? Are we 90% through? What do you think?
I mean, we're pretty close, aren't we?
Yeah, I think most of the sort of big systems are like the bulk of it is done. I mean, they say like 90. The first 90% takes 90% of the time. The last 10% takes the other 90% of the time.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Because it's all that kind of tweaking and there's bugs and why when this and this and this and this happen together does suddenly everything break.
Yeah.
So, like most of the sort of major, what we've called modules now, are done. I can explain modules later, but essentially, large chunks of code done. Now it's like connecting them, making sure all the little extra features are there.
Yeah. Anyone?
It's
Sorry, go.
I was going to say it's progressing fairly steadily now, especially recently.
Yeah.
It took a lot.
Yeah, we've had quite a bit of it's a big boost of active development recently, which is very nice.
Yeah.
So
Sure
yeah.
is.
Oh, yeah.
No, I was just gonna ask if anyone else had anything else to add to that.
Josh?
No, Josh, yeah.
I think it depends on what you define as public. I mean, I can pretty much say that we're fairly close to have a beta, like a test server.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah,
we're near that. A public release is, as in everyone else having the executable, is obviously a bit far off. But I think a test server will be coming fairly shortly.
Yeah. Woohoo!
Yeah, we need a fair amount of time to test all the progress so far, because there's still going to be edge cases.
Do you hear that,
we
chat?
haven't
A
seen
test
yet.
server is coming fairly shortly. Mark his words. Alright, so most of the questions from this point on are from a scripting point of view. So obviously I have no idea about that stuff, so this is where you guys shine. So you mentioned modules just before. Did you want to explain that a little bit? Or did you not want to?
Yeah, basically modules is an extension of kind of the general trend in like library development and stuff that has developed over years. Where for like code isolation, so like all the objects, all the code related to objects, that's a module. All the code related to checkpoints, that's a module. Vehicles is a separate module. And
So
there's
in
obviously-
terms of like plugins and filter scripts like we have in Samp, is that what are we renaming them to modules, or I think I saw something about that before, but I don't understand that stuff.
Not quite. Modules are more a chunk of code that provides some functionality.
Yeah.
So your filter scripts, I mean, we don't really have filter scripts anymore. You just have scripts, because game modes and filter scripts was an arbitrary, pointless distinction in the first place. We do still have plugins, but there's legacy plugins, which is all existing ones. Most of them should work, some of them won't.
Yeah, any memory hacking ones won't.
Yes, if they use memory hacking, they won't work, because that's changing values in memory at very specific locations. But because completely different code, everything's moved.
Yeah.
But then if someone wants to make, let's say, a memory hacking plugin to work on OpenMP, they can just like use the existing API in OpenMP instead of
and not
just
hack
doing
memory.
Yeah, you wouldn't need to go about that route anymore.
Yeah.
No, so we have a full C API. So
Correct.
legacy plugins had about 3 functions that they could call in the server, and that was it. And there was all sorts of workarounds and horrible ways to on natives from plugins. Now you can do that directly. So 90% of the need for memory hacking plugins is just gone. Things like Samp GDK, need for that was pulling pawn functions from plugins. That's gone. So plugins are all these legacy ones, and modules are basically the replacement. Like plugins, but far more powerful. Full callbacks, full functions.
Cool. I'm just smiling and nodding because I don't understand, but I'm sure most of our viewers do, so that's awesome.
Well,
we hope so.
People can if anybody wants any clarification on that, just ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have a little.
Maybe you're in the same boat as potassium.
Correct. So we've got our forum for questions like that, but also we're gonna have a little live question session at the end, so stick around.
It's also not like we won't document the code when it's actually released. So, if you are struggling to understand what any of this is, we'll have some kind of explanation that just tells you what it is.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so we got a few questions about limits. I know that we talked about that in our last Q&A, and I think you guys said there won't be limits on things like vehicles and objects. Is that right?
There's no reason to have arbitrary limits, but then we still have to because right now OpenMP will be just a server release for now, so you have
Server
to
release,
stream. Yeah, you have to make it compatible with San Andreas multiplayer. Therefore, we have to let's say emulate limits, but then internally in OpenMP there are no server-sided limits.
Mm.
Yeah.
It just depends on how much your machine is capable to do.
Yeah. So it does appear that in the very first version that the limits have to be in place until we get our own client out. And in which case then the limits are
just
no. Yeah. Oh yeah.
We stream stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
An internal streamer.
We cannot go over game limit right now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
There was one interesting issue with limits that were discussing only last week. The server itself can stream players as well. So, in theory, you could have unlimited players on the server, even with this legacy Samp client. Basically, we just send the players closest to you, sync them, and then when you move further away, we change which players are synced. But we've had to disable that by default because it means that everybody's constantly changing ID. So I'd connect to the server. I have a server ID of 27, but when I'm streamed to you, I have your local ID of 3. But I'm streamed to somebody else, and I have a local ID for them of 17. So you, as an admin, see that I'm cheating and type ban 5. Because you think that I'm ID 5, but the server thinks that I'm ID 27. And translating those when people are just using raw IDs instead of names is tricky.
Yeah.
So we've decided to disable that for now and make it optionally enabled if people want it, but with the caveat that their script will need to be aware of this. And for example, if in a command they just use strval to get typed ID, don't do that because it will probably be wrong. Or do that and then translate it from local ID to server ID. scanf will probably spoil that already. So with you, so if you do type you, if you use scanf with you already, it'll auto translate. Some scripts will need updating to support that.
Cool. Actually, the next question was, will we still be limited to 1,000 player slots? So I guess that kind of ties into that.
Yep.
Yeah, the answer for that, no.
If you enable it.
Not
Yeah.
needed.
Yeah.
I wanted to add to that. So our idea is to have you can configure what you want to limit for yourself. Because, for example, you don't want a server where you can spawn infinite entities, because someone could abuse it and just down your server. That's why there should be some configuration you can do to limit stuff, like players or vehicles or something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
I just want to say, yeah, that's not me in chat. People keep going, oh, is that me? No.
It's alright, I banned them. Yes, no, that is not the real wireless. This is the real wireless. Okay.
Or is it?
Or
What
is
is
it?
your Twitch account, Wireless?
One second.
Your,
It's
your
not
Twitch
important.
ID.
Okay.
Okay.
So moving on with the community questions. People want to know which languages other than porn we can script our servers in.
That's completely dependent on plugin developers. We already have quite a few already, which can be easily ported over. And some already do work. I think Etty, you were working, or at least you were thinking about writing another C# one, right?
I was thinking to implement like some module that implements another language, like for example C#, because nowadays C# and also Golang, yes, soft class, also Golang is a very popular language.
Yeah, me too, me too.
It first of all, I don't want to say that it will be officially supported, but I'm thinking about making a module, so it will be released under my name, so to say.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I know there's the Samp nodes, that's Amir, and I also help on that sometimes. So, I mean that should be easy to port over if it doesn't already work. It probably does.
I think
any
Samp
language.
already works.
Yeah,
I think Samp already works with OpenMP.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant then. The only
But
one we
it
need.
would be better. It would be better and faster if we use the C API that we are providing for OpenMP.
Yeah.
So better than going through the pound layer.
Yeah. We'll have to
First-
find a way to
first step
translate
to
the
do that.
Rust plugin over somehow, or the Rust SDK to make that work. I'm
First
sure
thing to
me and
do would
South
be-
Claus will do that.
Or Samp GDK.
Yeah. We're gonna find a way to support the current Rust plugins.
No more fake Amex bollocks. Use
Yeah.
the C API.
As I say, a lot of those plugins use Samp GDK to access
Yeah.
porn, but we just need to change the lowest level in there.
Yeah, the Rust one doesn't. It uses its own Eva Baker's is kind of like tried to reinvent it in his own way. So
That's
It
all.
binds to the AMX stuff, but I don't think the Rust community is that big. But if it is, then
there
I'm
are
sure
a couple
someone
of
does somehow.
there are a couple of plugins that people do rely on, especially the
I've got
timers
plugin.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, I might take a crack at that. I don't know, but it'd be cool to write modules in Rust. I think that'd be awesome. Shouldn't be too difficult.
Cool. Okay. Next question. Will Samp CTL/OpenCTL be the official package manager for Open Multiplayer?
And that's my ballpark. Yes, it will. It'll be renamed, of course.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's Open Package
OPM.
Manager? Yeah.
It'll be OPM.
That's what we decided on.
That's what I decided on.
I gave the name.
Yeah. I know. No, it's going to be that. Yeah, we're kind of working on kind of experimental features at the moment. I've sort of just built a couple of like quick, interesting experimental things for that. They're coming in the recent days I've been coding. So yeah, I'm thinking mainly about developer experience type things. So things like logging and command line interface, environment variables. All the stuff that helps you kind of build game modes faster and deploy them faster and automate as many things as you can, pretty much, such as the deployment process and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's where my head is at really. Yeah, SampCTL will remain compatible, and we'll basically just add OpenMP support.
Yeah.
So you can switch to it just by changing a string, in
Yeah.
theory, and changing your includes, and then recompile, and it'll just work. That's the plan anyway.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. And then it'll eventually have a bunch of new features as well.
Yeah.
Sort of better log handling, better Docker support, better deployment automation, stuff like that. Some of which will be implemented into OpenMP itself. A lot of the things that SampCTL does is actually to get around awkward design choices with the OpenMP Samp server. So a few of those things won't need to happen. A few of them will just be implemented directly into OpenMP. So yeah, hopefully that answers that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Does answer in that, yes, SampCTL, OpenCTL is officially supported, officially endorsed, probably distributed with it. That doesn't mean it's required. You can write scripts without it. If you don't use it now, you don't have to start using it.
Yeah. You're not fixed to that ecosystem.
Yeah, it's kind of like you can use Node.js without npm.
Cool. Cool. Okay, next question. What are OpenMP's current build times?
We talking
Does that mean
about...
the C++ build times or
I don't
script?
know.
We could just do both because they're both questions we can answer.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me say, if you rebuild the entire project, make sure to make a coffee then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Click
Go
on
grab a drink.
compile,
Yeah, it could take
make a
5-10
coffee,
minutes.
come back, it will be done.
It's got
Yeah.
way better. It used to be like half an
Yeah.
hour. Now it's about 8
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
That.
I spent a lot of time improving that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's paid off.
The player module used to be everywhere, included by everything. If you accidentally touch that file, that's a full rebuild. Going to online, that's a full rebuild.
Yeah, it could change
Not
the
anymore.
player data.
As
Yeah,
for
not
scripts,
any-
then that shouldn't change too much, really. We have
Scripts
like
are
a
the same.
compatibility layer. Yeah, scripts will just be the same. I think there is a question about that later on, so I'll leave that until then.
Cool. Thank you. Next question is, a lot of people wanted to know if we'll have a built-in anti-cheat.
No.
That's no. I think we'll have like a kind of like a very small, not really an anti-cheat, but more of just like we will try to block a few known issues, any exploits, stuff like that. But I think we're going to leave it to other developers to
Provide people the
implement their
tools
own way.
to build
Yeah.
good anti-cheats.
Yeah.
That's probably the most efficient way anyway, because then the community can kind of like come together and build solutions for specific cheats. Because if the community is dependent on us for doing that, then it's just going to get overtaken, because the amount of people developing cheats is going to outnumber the amount of people developing OpenMP, probably.
Yeah,
So
and
I
I'm
think
sure
just
they can
providing
they can
people with
push
tools
out
to do that
updates for theirs
is the best thing to do.
fasteners. Yeah.
We'll probably like post an official kind of repo for one where anybody can contribute and serve it as a module, as just centralized. Because the idea is that eventually, well, it's called openmp. It's meant to be open source. It's not currently because we've not finished the first release. But once it is, then we can release it and other people can contribute. And that's one of the major areas where we're hoping they will do.
Yeah.
Will it have an officially included edit cheat? Yes, if you help us.
Yeah. That's what it comes down to, really. If the community helps, then yeah, we'll have things like that.
Because a lot of people forget, Samp did have one. They experimented with an anti-cheat for a while, and by a while I mean about a month, before it just became completely unfeasible because, oh look, they've blocked this cheat. It took us 7 seconds to get around it. Now you have a new cheat.
Yeah.
It's a constant game of cat and mouse.
I feel the anti-cheat should be separate because we won't be updating the mod that much. Like we don't want to be updating it like every day or every week. It's going to be more of a long-term thing. But an anti-cheat needs to be updated quite frequently to combat the cheat. So having it as a separate module or something like that would probably be better for servers.
Yeah.
Than having to rely on us and waiting for us to release like at the end of the month or however long our update process will be.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I meant about boosting it centrally, but
yeah. So if it's open, then everyone can contribute, and then it's not entirely on you guys to keep updated and stuff. Yeah. And then on that note, Clio mods. A lot of people want to know if they'll still work. Or mods in general.
Sorry, repeat that again.
I don't know.
Yes, they will work.
Clio, yeah, they're all client-side, so that doesn't really affect
There'll be
it
no
right now.
changes.
Cool.
Yeah, not in this version anyway.
So
unless they start cheating, in which case in a way that the server can detect.
Well, yeah. Okay. People wanted to know if OpenMP will have a fixed GPCI function like a serial in MTA.
The problem with that is it's never going to be a 100% guaranteed way of banning someone or finding out if that player is that player. Because anyone with any kind of skills at all will just use some kind of like modifier for their system, and they will just change some information, and then they've got a brand new ID. So there's not really much we can do with that. We can provide you the tools, but I can't say they're ever gonna be 100% working to what you get. Yeah.
Cool. Anyone got anything else to add to that?
Nope.
Okay, cool.
Nope.
I do have something to add on the AC side of things, since people are asking about that a bit more.
Sure.
So, definitely can't have a general ban system, because servers are independent. If one server wants to keep you or one server wants to ban you, that's down to the server. One server wants to let you keep cheating, that's up to the server.
I used to play a cheating server, and it was really fun. I just want to add that.
So
a global ban
ultimately,
list wouldn't work for reasons like that.
that's a terrible idea. I know other pit mods have done it. It's a good idea.
Yes.
As for the anti-cheat itself, will be separate, and you can update it at any rate you like.
Awesome. Alright, we got a lot of questions about RACnet. I think people just want to know, like, what your thoughts are on it. If OpenMP will use the same version that Samp uses, blah, blah, blah.
There's a minor difference, but nothing extraordinary. We need basically the same major version for it to actually communicate with Samp directly.
Yeah.
The compatibility layer for communicating with existing Samp clients. Yes, it's basically the same. It fixed. So there's a few exploits
But
in RACnet.
it's going to be changed, right? So it's going to be changed in later, for example, when OpenMP client gets developed, and we're going to add a new networking library. So, for example, other networking library out there, each one of them is probably better than RACnet, especially the version that we are using right now. So yeah, for now, we're going to use RACnet as the same version that Samp is using, right? Only to keep the backward compatibility. Other than that, for example, for NPCs that Josh is working on right now, I mean, not right now, but he was working on it. But he was using eNet. That's probably our first choice. And it's way much better than RACnet.
I like eNet.
And it gets contributed more frequently, so we do not have issues with, I don't know, exploits or stuff that come up later, because we all know that RACnet project is dead. Like, the latest version is probably 6 years old by now. So that's the only reason that we are using RACnet. We're going to change that.
Cool. I don't understand any of that. But thank you. Okay, so there was a lot of discussion in the thread about sync and debug and stuff like that. So I guess people want to know what the sync will be like compared to Samp, and
It'll be the exact same.
The exact same.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
I'm not going to disable debug. We can't do that until client comes out. I'm probably not going to do that because it ruins the experience of Samp.
Yeah, so there was a lot of debate about that, and obviously there is within the team as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that because my server literally relies on those bugs.
People people enjoy that stuff, and there's already ways to stop it and prevent it anyway. So I don't really think it's kind of
I think we should probably in the client add a way to disable those kind of bugs if the server owner wants to, but maybe. it should be an option.
You can already disable it via pawn scripts though. So
yeah, you can.
So the consensus on that, just to clarify, is that we are just going to leave it how it is, and each server can choose what they do with it. Is that right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So we just won't.
Again, It's up to servers. Servers are different.
Yeah.
They want it, they can have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like lag comp. Like people like lag shot. Some people don't like
Yeah.
lag shot.
Which is why it was an option. You could turn it on and off.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to go about it. Okay, so a very popular question, both on the forum and in this chat, which I know you guys don't want to answer, but we're gonna do it. Samp for Android. What are your thoughts on that?
I think our official stance was we're not going to support it directly, but we're going to give the tools so that anyone else can do it.
We don't want to support the
s-
existing Samp Mobile because the existing current version of Samp Mobile is based on stolen code.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it's very not legal, and I don't think any of us really kind of
And
respect
I'm
the
also
whole
sure
project
that
anyway.
someone here probably wants to use OpenMP and then make their own Android client.
I mean,
Make your own Android client.
But then
You can make your own
officially,
Android client. Fine.
but then officially,
Yeah.
we're not thinking about that.
So officially, as open multiplayer developers, no, is the answer. We're not thinking about.
There are
that.
actually some ways, some stuff that's blocking us. For example, to implement our own library into an APK file, we need to modify that. So that means we need to modify GTA San Andreas APK file for Android, right? And that actually has legal issues, right? So, beside that, we actually need to modify some codes in GTA APK file too. Either gonna be the Java assembly, or we're gonna patch the current GTA say code so that loads our own library, which is gonna be OpenMP client, right? So for that, as I said, we need to modify the game, and we need to give people the modified version, which is not legal. So we're gonna have issues, legal issues later, copyright issues later. So
Technically, we could
probably not an
legally
option.
distribute the binary to players and then let them add it to their APK, but that's not
Yeah.
a great experience.
Yeah, some sort, providing some sort of a patch that they can do themselves.
Had
to
we,
install it? Yeah.
there is stolen versions of the source code out and about. So that's what the Android version is based on. We could, if we wanted to use that, we could have used that. We could have started from that code, updated the server, and written OpenMP using stolen code, and it would have been very illegal. And that's entirely the reason why we started OpenMP from scratch. 0 old source code in it. Like, you can compare them, and they are absolutely nothing alike.
Yeah.
Because we do not in any way condone stealing.
Correct. That's a very important point to
Absolutely
reiterate.
true.
We do not support stolen code. Okay.
And there is none in this mod.
Yes, that's correct.
it always potentially puts us in a really bad spot with legal issues if we were to go down that route anyway.
It
We
would have
don't
been
want a
out
bad
years
name.
ago if we did.
Yeah.
Now, along a similar path of questions, people want to know why they should play OpenMP instead of MTA. What's without insulting other mods? What's different?
Well, we're still offering the same Samp experience that everyone loves, but I guess we're now offering an upgrade path. More features down the line. A possible path for everyone to kind of move forward. Even at the stuff that everyone's wanted from Samp for years. And a lot of people have left Samp because Samp has just been down the same path for a very long time. It's just not gone anywhere. Very little's been added, but now we're giving people the opportunity to add what they want now. After we've released it, they can we can add stuff, and that path's open now.
Yeah. Anyone got anything else to add to
And
that?
MTA is great. I like MTA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
MT is not
it's-
bad software.
Yeah, there's no beef there.
Yeah.
Their map editor is great.
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
used to use it. But there is like a cultural difference between MTA and Samp, and I don't think anyone's really managed to figure out what it is exactly. Like MTA definitely has like better features. It is an objectively better thing than Samp, but people just kind of like Samp more. I don't know. It's kind of, I guess it stays closer to
That's
the
just
game.
having different goals.
Yeah,
It's
different
just having
goals really.
different goals.
MTA kind of feels more like Gary's mod in a way. Like it's more of a sandbox type. Yeah, like create your own crazy multiplayer like game type thing. But
people like simplicity, so
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And the ability to join the server without downloading 500 megabytes of anime skins is always a good thing.
But I get disappointed that the server isn't that so great.
Yeah.
I guess it's Samp and MTA serve slightly different markets. I would use this one instead of MTA. It's just the same reason why you'd use this Samp instead of MTA. It's essentially Samp
Yeah.
EX. Putting a horrible phrase.
Moving on. So the next lot of questions are more about kind of the structure of the mod and the community rather than scripting. So people would like to know if it will be compatible with the Steam version of San Andreas, because obviously, as we know, Samp is not.
That's quite.
ideally it should be.
Yeah. MTA does it. I'm sure we can do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It would just take a
There's
lot of
no
work.
reason
So
not to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
But if not, there are downgraders anyway, and there's been downgraders for like years. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
like either way, it's not a huge issue, I don't think.
Yeah.
No, but we should be able to. There's really no reason not.
Well, that's exciting. Okay, now the master list. People want to know what's going to happen with that. Will we have a paid list, etc., etc.? Server list.
I mean, we have a few ideas for it, but not
Yeah.
sort of. We've not quite like got to that point where we've like gone. Okay, this is what we're doing.
I do want
It's
to
more
prefix this
just-
with it's not a for-profit project at all.
Yeah.
There have been ideas thrown around because people actually do genuinely want a way to, if they run a big server and it is kind of like a business, then they do want a way to kind of bump it to the top as like an investment kind of thing. And I appreciate that, and I've actually talked to quite a few people about that desire from the sort of larger server community. There are ideas, and I don't think we're quite ready to sort of discuss them all yet because they're not really fleshed out. But I have been working on the new server index, which is currently being deployed. It's essentially going to be like sampservers.net, but with an updated backend, and it'll support Samp servers and in future OpenMP servers. And it's kind of going to be like the advertisements board from the forum, but better because it's not on a forum. But yeah, it'll be like a dedicated website, and it'll be openmp/servers or something like that. And that will come soon. The first version is kind of done, and that will be open source as well. So you can kind of follow along the development of that, and eventually that will turn into the list. As I said, like we're quite early on decisions like that, and I don't really know what the sort of team's consensus is, but I think we're probably not going to split servers into two separate lists because that just kind of separates people into like the bad ones and the good ones in a way, and it kind of creates an us versus them sort of not conflict, but just like a it's kind of like a separation. And I think like having the ability to give the smaller servers a chance to kind of get some visibility is good as well, because sometimes people make a really cool project and they can't pay to go onto the hosted list or whatever. So kind of one of my goals in that is kind of surface potentially interesting servers that don't have reach, but at the moment it's just going to be like a list, and you can sort it by whatever you want and find servers. That'll be the first version.
Yeah. Samp is at the moment very biased for its hosted tab.
Oh yeah, and it's limited and it's
Yeah.
expensive. And
Yeah,
And
it
it's
is,
a horrible name.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like
for our own server list, we can actually add some options like ratings, voting, stuff like that. So you can actually rate some servers. Like there can be two sections. For example, one is going to be the ones with most ratings, and the other one's going to be, for example, a server that got rated frequently in recent days. So we can actually see the trends, stuff like that. So new servers can go up and can be seen by other players. So that's actually a good way for new servers that they have actually unique idea, the unique part of people use on their servers. So they can actually be seen by other players and get famous. That's actually a better way, better than spending money on some,
Oh, yeah.
some other lists, stuff like that.
So I think the really important thing to take away from that is that we are a not-for-profit project. So we're not gonna create a server list purely for the intention of making money off of it. Is the important thing.
But that doesn't mean there won't be ways to advertise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you have ideas about that, on the forums.
Yep.
Yes, that is burgershot.gg. Sign up to our
That's
forum.
something we've discussed for like 2 years and we have no conclusion.
Yeah. Okay. Someone asked, does the openmp server actually include any kind of performance upgrade compared to the Samp server? I think we sort of answered that before in the MTA question, but if anyone has anything else to add to that.
Yeah, can I just say?
Yeah.
Can I just say? I've actually run it on a Raspberry Pi Zero, so yeah.
Yeah.
That should
That's
say
nice.
enough.
It's pretty based.
Yeah, you can host your own server while you're walking down the street, like you're having your Raspberry Pi and your Pocket, and still running your Samp server. So, yeah, it should be fast that this can be possible.
Yeah.
Should we mention, because we're using C++17, and there is like a minimum deployment for that, right?
Oh yeah.
What do you mean?
No. Depends how you build it.
I meant like library requirements, as in like system operating system libraries and stuff.
glibc and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
update your operating system.
Well, glibc isn't part of C++17. glibc x-axis, and that can be static, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's no reason why you can't
yeah.
build it for a different system.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. I'm just thinking of edge cases like Arc and stuff, but that'll probably work anyway. Well, Arc would be anyway. Yeah. Wait, didn't someone actually build it for Arc already? Or was that? Oh no, maybe that was you, Hall. Maybe that was you doing it for Raspberry
what?
Pi.
You mean?
Oh,
Yeah, ARM. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, I said Arc, didn't I?
No, there's
So,
no reason
yeah.
no ARM.
Performance is fine. Compatibility is fine.
Cool.
That's brilliant, man.
Alright, now the question everyone hates. 0.3 DL. A lot of server owners asked if it will be compatible on first release so they can instantly switch their servers over.
yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
That was easy.
That was easy because the last time we talked about it, we had very divided opinions and we kind of just asked the community what their opinions were. So
I think for the server it's very simple. For the client, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we already know it's possible because Adrian Graver wrote that plugin that literally tricks the client into connecting. So we know we can do it.
Providing the URLs and uploading the data.
Oh right, yeah.
That's like fairly simple.
Yeah.
yeah. Cool. And then on a similar path, I know we're not taking live questions yet, but someone in chat had a really good question. Have you guys thought about making a workshop for OpenMP, something like how MTA has for maps, scripts, plugins, etc.?
That would be really cool.
Yeah, that would it'd be cool. Yeah.
The question is, have we thought about it? The answer is no.
No, we're not
Fully
quite
thinking about it.
But now we are.
I'm going to think about it now.
Yeah,
So
no,
thank
yeah.
you. Thanks,
Good idea.
Rayo. Good idea.
Yeah.
Alright. Moving on. So people wanted to know more about like future plans. So a specific question was, what's the next step for OpenMP after it reaches Samp flow? So once we've got it to compatibility and where we want it to be, what are your future plans and ideas?
I think after release, we're just going to try and start with the client. Just head for the second release, I guess. We haven't really thought about it too much.
Yeah.
Probably
Focus
fix
on the
it.
first release.
Go, Paul.
I don't know, maybe Wireless has some ideas about that.
We should probably fix up the server first. Maybe fix up some. Then we'll.
There'll probably be like a time frame after we've released, to where we wait for like bug reports and stuff, and handle that. Because in any software, there's always going to be those edge cases that need to be sorted. No software that comes out the gates on the first try is ever going to be perfect.
Yeah. So is it fair to say the initial release and for a while after won't really see any new features? They'll come later in the future, maybe.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
probably not straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
basically
probably,
limited by the client, so without our own client, we can't really do much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
We can do some clever things. Got some tricks up our sleeves.
Watch
The
this
new age
space,
features
basically.
without a client.
But most of them have already been done in one way or another.
Well, there's always something new, I think. Okay. On that note, what kind of things would you guys like to eventually add? Like, once it's all compatible and bugs are all sorted and everything, new things that you guys would like to see. That
Text animations.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I want Unicode. I want the clown emojis in chat.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
emojis in chat.
Ah,
Yeah,
emojis
clown
in
emojis
chat,
on
yeah.
chat.
Yeah.
The
It'd be
ability
nice.
for Russian people to talk to English people on the same server without having to change their code page.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That would be great.
Yeah.
That's a revolutionary.
Oh yeah.
Bro.
It is revolutionary. Alright. So...
Multi-server clustering would be cool. There's a lot of Russian servers out there, and they run like 20 servers, and they're all like connected. And
Yeah.
I can imagine
be
it's very
nice.
janky in the back end. I think like facilitating that would be kind of neat.
Yeah. It'd be nice to have
Because
something like
switch
that.
server in game stuff like that.
Experiments into that, so I might look into it. So
Someone in chat just asked voice chat in OpenMP.
Do you want 12-year-olds shouting at you down the street? I don't think so.
Yeah. Leave
I mean,
that
there are plugins
Discord.
out there,
Yeah.
and of course, with the
There's
client
better
and the
systems.
server out in the future, like if you want to do voice chat like plugins, then go wild, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, there are
Um,
quite a few on there already. At least I
Yeah.
think I know 2 already.
I think they're closed source though, so it's kind of sketchy. Like I don't like.
Oh,
running-
I think
random
one of them
executable.
is open source.
Is it? No.
I think-
There's
yeah,
one actually
yeah,
open source.
Yeah.
Right.
There is,
Well, that's-
there is.
Well, there you go. There's the solution.
Yeah.
I think one thing I do want to say though is like, just because we're making a from scratch new like multiplayer mod platform to build on, doesn't mean that the actual mod itself has to have every single possible feature crammed into it. We're making a better plugin API for a reason. So like a lot of things, because we get questions like, are you going to add like MySQL, or are you going to add like scanf, or are you going to add this plugin and that plugin? And most of the answer to those questions is no, because there's no reason to. In fact, there's more reason to build more things as plugins, because then they're modular. You can remove them when you don't need them. So I think the same goes for things like voice chat and client things. Like, we'll provide a better set of tools for people to actually augment the experience and add new things to it. And I think that's better than cramming it full of, features that maybe most people won't actually use.
Yeah.
But also, since installing plugins in Samp is kind of annoying, we probably should think about having an official plugin registry.
Oh yeah.
Where servers can actually specify what client plugins the clients download, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, and things
Like
like a
Samp CTL.
Yeah, like a client version of some CTL, I suppose. But yeah, and of course the worry there is always about like being able to run arbitrary code on the user's computer. So I think having a trusted repository would be kind of good.
And now can we just...
Something to bear in mind, sorry.
No, you go.
Like half of the big plugins that everybody uses, like MySQL, Streamer, scanf, all that lot, the developers for those plugins are on this team.
Oh
like,
yeah.
We're not just gonna suddenly stop developing them. Like, no, you can't get my plugin now because I wrote something else.
Yeah.
Shout out to Samsung.
But then
they come from us anyway.
There will be no need to use the streamer plugin in OpenMP because OpenMP already has features.
Yeah, that's one exception.
Entities.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can we just clarify for some people asking in chat about making a client? So that's a future plan, right? Making our own client.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the second version.
Yes,
that's
Second
definitely our
version.
future plan.
That's the fun part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not for me.
All right.
At least we merge vehicles, though. In base dev.
Base dev.
Dev is the base now.
Okay. Now, people were asking about other communities that speak different languages and such, and they kind of want to know what we're doing to work with those communities and how we plan on spreading the word to those communities. I think it's fair to say that we're working on that. We've
been doing a bit of that.
Yeah, so we're recruiting volunteers, I guess, to translate our wiki pages and whatever else to other languages, to moderate our language sections on the forum, burgershot.gg, by the way, and generally just to be the point of contact between our team and the other communities, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, we've made a huge effort already to, as you said, translate the wiki. So we're making an improvement to make it easier for those communities to sort of, combine with the larger community, the main community. And I mean, I've already talked to quite a few because I know quite a lot of Balkan area servers. I actually run one, even though I don't speak the language. But there you go. I actually run a second one now and a roleplay server, and so I've been, been in touch with quite a few of their areas and tried to get quite a few of them over, and a lot of them are on board. A lot of server owners from those areas are on board, so that's always good.
And I was surprised to know there's quite a big Chinese, Japanese, Taiwanese community as well that I didn't even know about. So I've been talking to people in those communities and helping translate and stuff. So
yeah, I found out that there was a big Chinese and Japanese community about 7 seconds ago when you said that.
Yeah, I've mentioned it before in the Discord, but yeah, there is actually big community. The problem's always been the language barrier.
Yes,
but the translation stuff is really helping with that. The fact that you can actually do it, because the old Samp wiki you couldn't create an account for many years for some reason. So no one could translate the wiki.
The reason was Calcor.
Oh yeah, it's usually Calcor. You know, so people usually made their own like wikis and stuff, and they got outdated, and yeah, just problems and problems.
So
Apparently, I have
Discord.
heard. Apparently, in Thailand, there's actually a single translated version of the Godfather game mode that everybody copies and uses, and that just made me cry a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
And there are already multiple language sections on Discord and the forums. The big issue that we had, because the Samp forums used to have language sections as well. The problem was moderating them, because if we don't speak the language, we don't know what you're saying. And most of the time you can talk, but if there's issues, people are like, make reports like, oh, this person's doing something bad. We're like, well, we don't know. We can't review that, really. So we'd love to reach out to communities. We kind of need people within those communities that speak English to liaise with.
Yeah.
But we're very interested in finding those people. So if you're involved in one of the foreign language communities and speak English, please speak to us.
Yeah, so if you know trustworthy members of the community who speak other languages and want to help us out, tell them to get in touch with us on our forum, our Discord, wherever, because
Email,
we would love that.
Smoke signal.
Yeah,
possible
smoke
way you can
signals.
think of.
We already do have several languages in the team.
Yes.
So
Correct.
speak English or German or Persian or
Australian.
that's about it. Yeah, Australian. That's a unique language. Yorkshire.
Yes. Alright.
Also, we're pretty close with the Turkish and Romanian communities as well.
Yeah.
They're pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shout outs.
And I do have contacts in the Russian community as well. So
Awesome. So we are trying.
yes, it's tricky.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
That's why it's not worked before.
Yeah. Lack of effort. And so the last kind of pre-loaded question from the forum today is, what are you most looking forward to about OpenMP? And I just thought this was really like a wholesome question.
Being released.
Well, yeah.
Releasing.
Okay, so after the release, then, like, just in general, like, it's a nice question because I'm glad that people can see that we're happy to be doing this and excited to be doing it. So, yeah, what are you looking forward to the most?
I think we're all just looking forward to getting it to a stage where either, I don't know, players are finally enjoying the features, or we get to a point where the rest of the community can take over. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much that, to be honest.
Yeah. Anyone else want to add anything?
No book reports.
Nope.
No book reports.
I'm honestly just kind of looking forward to bringing together the community again, because we all kind of separated and, you know, went off in
it'd
different
be nice to have.
directions,
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a big increase of players. Especially now that we talked about including the other communities as well that have gone their own separate ways. It'd be nice to have them in because, you know, more players the better. So
not even just player count, just in general, bringing the community back together.
Yeah.
We're not doing this for the sake of a 15-year-old game because the game is the greatest game ever. We're doing it because of the community.
Oh,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. However, it is the greatest game ever.
The game.
Can confirm.
Vice City's better.
Look, Liberty City is my home. I will always love GTA 3. But anyway,
so the team's completely split.
Yes. But on that note, we get a lot of questions asking, you know, San Andreas is such an old game. Why are you bothering? Why do you care? Kind of thing. I just want to answer that one, or start by answering that one, and say that I think it's important to remember that a large portion of the Samp player base come from countries where technology isn't necessarily as up to date or as high priority as it is where some of us live. And a lot of our players play Samp because it's one of the only games that can run on their PCs or that they can afford. So I don't know, I just absolutely love the fact that we can give them the ability to play and create their own game modes like battle royales or racing modes or whatever, so that, you know, everyone can still experience these kind of games, even though they can't afford like PUBG or Call of Duty or, you know, like they can't run those things.
And a side thing to add to that, I think, is the scripting side of it. Like it's a gateway drug in a way. It's a gateway for people to learn how to code.
Yes.
And if you learn how to code, that can be great because you can make things and you can make games and you can have fun, but you can also get a job doing it.
There are a lot of people.
A lot of people here
have
actually got jobs because of Samp.
That's
like,
right.
I'm one of them.
Yeah.
It's definitely a great gateway to learning how to code, because like Pawn is quite a simple language, and then you might move into C++ to build plugins, and that's kind of a more complex language. And then you might move to doing web stuff like PHP and JavaScript because of like user control panels and forums and stuff, and it just goes out from there. And yeah, that's one of the main things I love about it. Like I don't really play the game anymore, and I haven't really written much code for a few years, but I just love the community. I love helping people with that side of things. So that's why I'm in it.
I think you can track the history of games over the last 15 years through Samp modes. Whatever the current popular games is, there is a Samp version of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
And I love that.
PUBG Samp.
Yeah.
Battle Royale Samp. South Social Racing and Microsoft Flight Simulator Samp.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A month ago.
Yeah.
And that's already working on an Among Us server.
Survive, you know.
Among Us, okay.
Yeah. I don't know how that's gonna work, but there you go.
I keep wanting to write a Trouble in Terrorist Town server. Like I really want to do one of those, like you know, Among Us style.
Yeah.
It's great fun. Maybe that's the next stream. Maybe the next stream is a TTP game mode.
That'd be awesome. But yeah, just back on that note, like I don't think there are many games or communities like where you can do that kind of thing, where you can have different modes, like maybe Roblox or something.
Gary's mod's the only one I can think of.
Gary's mod,
That's like the closest thing, really.
Yeah.
And even that kind of, like, you need a semi-modern PC to actually run it.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
when you join a server, you usually download 500 megabytes of anime skins. So,
yes.
You know, kind of got the MTA problem.
Every time I play Gary's mod, I get, like, texture errors and stuff. So.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a good PC, so... Anyway, I think we will go ahead and take some live questions from chat. So you guys listening...
Just quickly before you do that, one other thing related to that point, we were saying lots of people have got started in Samp learning to code through Pawn, which is quite a simple language. And a lot of people always ask, like, why using Pawn? It's such a simple language. But that is the answer.
Yep.
We use it because it's a simple language.
Yeah.
Like anybody can pick it up. That's I am convinced. Like, everyone goes, "Oh, I use Pawn. It's such an easy language. Oh, I use Porno. That's such a terrible editor. Why don't you use like Visual Studio Code with 27 plugins and all this and this and this?" And
AMD 64 assembler.
yeah, if you're a new, I mean, it's an 18 game. But let's face it, we have a lot of kids playing. You come along, and you go, okay, you want to make your... Yeah, they come along and you go, okay, I want to make my own server. How do I do that? Well, first you need to download this editor and these plugins, and then you download this other compiler and these other things and do this and this and this and this, and then this, and then this and this, and then you can start writing your first code in this horribly convoluted language. They just go,
yeah.
Whereas with Samp, it was, how do I start coding? Open this, type, done.
Yep.
Easy.
And you've already got a piece of code to start with as well.
Yeah.
So
yes.
it's even better.
The barrier to entry is 0. Which,
put it this way: if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not exaggeration.
Potassium learns to code video series. When's that happening?
Yes.
Yeah, when's that? We need live
I'm
streams.
down if
Taking
you
over
guys
the
are.
PK mode.
I'm so down for that. But you guys are gonna get very
I actually
angry.
think that's a really good series.
I'm very hard to teach.
Yeah.
And also I will cry. But that's okay.
We'll figure it out.
That's good content, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so we're gonna take some live questions from chat. So if you guys in the chat have any questions, which I know you do, you've.
I think someone just asked
noted.
about get asynchronous key state.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Not sure actually having that is actually a good idea because
Yeah.
that would
How
require.
does that work?
Yeah, that's not how it works because what Samp actually does right now is listening to key events. So what player has mapped it to the GTA game itself. So for example, when you press F, if you change the F button to, I don't know, G, for example, for entering vehicles, when they press G, it's going to get called on the server side, right? So what they want and what they were asking in chat is actually sending all the key events to the server, which is actually not a good idea because you can actually run a key logger or stuff like that, and you're gonna have some security issues. So
It also
probably
means
not.
that the key layout is then controlled by the server and not the player.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's kind of weird because like if you like using a different keyboard layout, like maybe you like using ESDF, which I know some FPS players actually use things like that and other layouts for their WASD. If you join a server and suddenly all your buttons are kind of different, then it can be kind of confusing. So, I mean, we could add more keys maybe.
Yeah,
to
I
the
think
client that can be
adding
rebound,
more
but
keys, yeah.
I think using the games keys is actually gives players like the ability to customize their sort of layout and stuff to match them, not the server forcing them to press F if they want to use E for entering cars or something.
Yeah.
Picking up items, stuff like that.
I think how we should handle it is like add some actions, not keys. Just a bunch of actions so anyone can bind anything to them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because we have Y and N as well that were added at some point. Or was it H? I can't remember. There were some new keys added at one point. We could do stuff like that. There was actually a key I use, tab. So tab is actually a key action, but it's also the scoreboard, right? So users can't really use it. But if you rebind tab to like something like R, suddenly you've got a new key to actually rebind on the server side. So there's potential there, really.
Yeah.
The better way is just to have the server define actions, and then the client can get that list of actions and just assign their own keys, default keys. But then still, it's just they've triggered this action, or they've pressed this key.
Yeah.
And also not allow people to bind every single key on the keyboard and then keylog people.
Yeah.
No,
I also
again,
listed
that
some
still won't
questions.
work because if they're allowed to bind their own keys, they can change it so the keylogger is still useless.
Yeah.
But okay, they've triggered these actions in this order. What keys is that? Don't know.
I'm not sure if this is a direct question to us, but it does say what is the recommended amount of dedicated RAMs?
Okay.
Dedicated
That's
RAM.
Jamie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bloody
I do
troll.
have some questions here somewhere.
So I've listed some questions. One of them was about DDoS and people attacking other servers, which is very common in Spanish community, right?
All communities.
Yeah, kind of all communities, but in the Spanish community, there's some guy, stuff like that. There's some
I'm
big
aware
dramas
of
going on.
this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And then Grubber had to write a weird proxy thing.
Yeah, and people
that's
are now
more of a
asking
query
about.
flood, though.
Yeah, people are now asking about that for DDoS protection and
It's
protection
not.
against
We can't.
exploit.
There's nothing we can do about DDoS itself. That's
Yeah,
completely
exactly.
above us. Yeah, but
We can provide the tools, though.
yeah, not really.
So, like, Oh yeah. So the thing that Grabber wrote and something that I've worked on, and actually you've worked on, Michael, is a proxy.
Yes.
Which was
Oh,
kind of
yes,
awkward
yes,
to get working because of how Samp quote unquote encrypts data. It
Yeah,
doesn't
it
really
really
encrypt
is.
it. It uses the port to and like a very simple cipher. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. And if you can put a proxy on like another server and then use round robin DNS or something, then that can be a good mitigation technique.
Yeah.
For DDoS. So I think providing the tools to do that is
There
something we
would
can
be
do.
a point in that, though. If someone was to DDoS the actual load balancer or proxy itself, then that would ruin it for all servers.
Yeah, but a proxy load balancer is a lot lighter than the game server, so you can dedicate multiple threads to actually handle that load. It's kind of how Cloudflare and all those proxy services work. So if you're a big server and you've got the budget, then you can rent a bunch of VPSs, round robin DNS, and put proxies on all of them, and then that kind of take the load. And then your actual real server, you can just hide the IP address of it, and no one can DDoS it directly. So.
Yeah.
So
Again,
the result of
about
our
tooling.
discussion, the result of our discussion is if they are actually targeting the server itself, not the OpenMP server, for example, right, the machine itself, right? If they are targeting that with a stressor or some kind of exploits, stuff like that, we cannot actually do anything about it. So I mean,
we can
that's not
we
actually
can fix the
our
exploit.
job.
Yeah, but we can't fix DDoS because that's just how the internet works.
If those are exploits or stressor or I don't know, some kind of DDoS tools, stuff like that, if they are actually targeting OpenMP server, we can find the issue and fix it as soon as possible that we figure it out. But about the server itself, the machine, there's actually no way we can handle that because, there's nothing for us to fix. So that's actually other people's work. Buying and DDoS protection, having good servers, paying more. Yeah.
Yeah, that comes with anyone running any kind of application in production.
Yeah, any kind of server.
But yeah, that's not like a specific issue to us.
Yeah, even just a simple website. People can target a website for that to take down the servers.
I can target your home router.
Website.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah, exactly.
You just can't stop DDoS in software.
Yeah.
It's just not it's not possible. People keep saying like, how can we stop DDoS? By DDoS protection. That's it.
Basically, we can stop it if it's abusing an openmp exploit. Otherwise, nothing we can do.
It would also be good if we had the community report these bugs to make sure they actually report these issues immediately when they find them, because that would just help us to fix them. If something's happening
on GitHub, since it's got to be on GitHub, they can open issues there.
Yeah.
It's
not going to help.
One of the
feeling generous.
One of the biggest issue that we had in Samp was people couldn't report bugs. There was like some thread or discussions, stuff like that, and people were they were reporting bugs or adding suggestions, and those messages would get lost
or deleted
like in a day or stuff like that. Yeah, deleted.
I remember there was a bug thread that got deleted like 3 hours after it was created, when it had like I think it was like 27 or 30 different replies in it, all bugs, and it was just like gone.
I found a bug where you could read logs from remotely, and no one cared. I told Helper about it and got no reply. So yeah.
Nice. Okay. I don't understand this question, but Southclaw sent it to me. So it says, Samp doesn't support IP failover/alias. Will openmp support it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason Samp doesn't support that is because it uses the actual port and the address to encrypt its packets. But we can just not do that when the client is out. While we've got to use the Samp server, we'll be kind of bound to the weird encryption that exists. But after that, we can do like just a regular UDP proxy type thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
And you can do failover for DNS as well.
There's also another question that I have in my list that people ask in chat. Someone's asked, more like a suggestion. Can we consider giving servers the ability to add their fave icon that is shown on the client next or before the server title, for example, in launcher?
That's a neat idea, actually. I like that.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
it could be
we
incorporated into the
we can
index
actually
too.
yeah we can actually do that right now with having even Samp client or Samp launcher. I mean,
Yeah, you
not
could
with
just add it as
Samp
a
launcher.
custom
I mean,
rule.
with a custom launcher, we can actually add a custom rule to the query, so we read that in our own launcher and
Fun
display
fact.
that.
The sampservers.net, which I wrote 3 years ago or 2 years ago or something, can't remember.
I think
that
2
actually
years
had
ago.
support. That had support for a field called banner, which was meant to be an image that would be like a cool graphic you could put in the background of like your server page or the server list or something. So yeah, we definitely think about things like that.
There is also the fact that now that we've got the indexer, you've added login support for users. So they could easily, even without it being on the server, they could technically just log into that and put it on the indexer, and then all the launches could just go off the indexer.
Yeah. So the plan with the indexer is to basically you launch a server and you log into the indexer, and the indexer will give you like a token, like an API token, and you put that token into your server config file, and now the indexer has verified that you own that server. So then on the indexer's web interface, you can go and edit the description, the icon, the image, whatever we end up adding. GIFs, I don't know. Emojis.
That's actually a good idea. Having them is actually a good idea.
Yeah. So then you don't have to modify a config file that is on a VPS, and you have to log in, upload, SSH, whatever. You just go to a website and you can just edit it with your browser, and it's a lot simpler.
Yeah.
But then there's a problem with moderation when it's on the master list.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun.
Because text is like fine, but when you get to actual
we'll
images,
worry about that in the future.
Yeah. Alright, before we end for today, people keep asking us to show videos of the progress. So we don't have that. We don't have videos because there's not really anything to show at the moment, right? Because it's
usually just me and Josh driving around.
Josh, bro, show number one.
We have been live streaming recently, and showing openmp progress. Yeah.
If you were sharing openmp progress as openmp development, like coding in openmp, but at the end there's actually nothing to show on a stream or as a video, because it's just a simple server application, which is like a console. So you barely can get anything out of it if we show it on a video. So
it just looks like Samp.
The whole point is to be Samp. So
just launch Samp and then openmp. Voila.
Kind of the idea is that from the player's perspective, it'll be transparent anyway. Like the players shouldn't even notice they're on an openmp server at the beginning. Because they'll just connect to the Samp client, and they'll just be connected, and they'll play, and then everything will be good.
But development is occasionally streamed on Discord.
So if you
can watch that. Yeah, it's fine.
So if you guys join our Discord server, Southglaws and other people do often stream their development and stuff, their progress, in Discord. So you just you join the Discord channel and watch the stream.
And you can just join and talk as well, and chat and ask questions and like that.
Yeah, so we are quite open with it, and do a lot of public stuff that you guys can join.
Someone just asked if custom UI for servers using HTML, CSS, and JS, and we have talked about this a lot. And Seth will not be part of it.
We don't really want to turn servers into Google AdSense sources of nonsense on your screen.
Yeah.
Also, good luck getting CF to work on XP.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Also, CF isn't small.
Yeah, it's like
it's huge.
Chunky boy.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a problem with people who have low-end computers.
Our goal
Yeah,
is that
you want-
people will have like weak computers to play that
Yeah.
game. So we
If you
don't want
want
to blow that with.
you can
for
just
example-
play MTA. It's fine. Like we won't judge.
I mean, eventually, I guess we're gonna have client-side C API too, right? So if we actually add that and having that, yeah, Josh.
Jesus
I mean,
Christ.
we haven't talked about it, yes, but actually having that is actually a good idea because people can add voice chat by themselves by interacting our own API, and for CEF stuff like that, they can add it themselves if we add C API. So yeah, it's probably possible for later usage.
But we probably won't ever have CF.
Yeah, we're not gonna have that built in
Not officially, no.
clients
No.
itself.
Someone else could edit unofficially.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not sure we'll accept it in the registry of official plugins also. So I don't know.
Yeah, there is security
Base.
concerns with things like that as well. So
Yeah. Someone asked if we have a official map and model editor. I know
have a
Amir's
model viewer?
working. Yeah, we have Amir
What
working
map
on
editor?
model viewer.
there are
Not sure
plenty
how.
of map editors that work in game already, and they'll just
Yeah.
work fine. Like Fuse's map editor, and
We might add
you can use MTA.
add a client-side plugin for that.
Yeah, that'd be very
Yeah.
cool.
For model viewer,
Currently, no.
Currently,
Yeah, currently
no. All right.
Currently, no, and we've not really discussed it, so we could say, oh, we would like one, which is true, but there's no plans to make one.
Yeah.
There are ones already, and they work, and they're fine, and everyone knows them.
Yeah. Alright, I think we will end it there, because I think we answered a lot of questions. But, you know, if you
and
have
we'll-
more questions, please go to our forum or our Discord and ask them, because we do want to answer them. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, some people are concerned about not native speakers and not understanding what we've talked about, so we'll try and write up
Yes.
some of the answers.
Yeah, I'll try and get a transcript up, and then
Those things.
our awesome contacts in other communities can translate for us. That would be great.
I mean, if you upload it on YouTube, that should be fairly easy.
Yeah, that's the plan. So we're gonna put this on YouTube, and I'm gonna try to put it on some kind of podcast platform too, so people can listen to it.
Ooh.
Mm.
I'm sure YouTube will generate some very hilarious captions as well.
Oh yeah. I'm looking forward to that. So like we said, we do intend to stream regularly from now on. Not just Q&A sessions, but we would like to stream development progress. I think we talked about doing some community games, like stuff like Among Us and, you know, other games that we could all play together. So we'll do things
That'd be
like
great.
that.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, so make sure you follow this channel, join our Discord, subscribe on YouTube, follow our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, sign up to our forum, all that good stuff. Everything is linked.
VK, you forgot VK.
Yes, VK.
There's a Reddit as well.
Reddit.
Oh
yep.
god.
With nothing on it.
Everything should be linked below. Otherwise, we do have a link tree. It's linktree / open multiplayer, I believe, where everything is linked on that. But yeah, I guess thank you guys for your time. Thank you to all the viewers for watching, listening, rather. Yeah, thank you. So the Linktree link is in the Twitch chat right now. One more question quickly. Are there plans to open a Patreon for people wanting to support the project? I do think that's important to discuss quickly.
I mean, that sounds cool.
Southpaw was going to do something. I don't know what he's doing with it now.
I don't know, because it's kind of like a team thing. We all need to kind of...
Yeah, so we're
think
not
about
really,
something.
we haven't
we're
really
not really
discussed it
anything like that.
yet.
Yeah.
Donations are always good, but we don't really need them right now.
Yeah, at the moment we don't need them.
Unless Outlaws needs them. I mean, he pays for it, everything. I think.
Yeah, I mean
I
stuff
used
like
to,
the
but
server
Michael
costs and
was,
whatever. It would be nice
Yeah,
to
at the
cover
moment
those.
I'm hosting
Yeah.
most of it.
It's fairly cheap. The indexer probably costs like $5 a month. It's like nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
and
So-
the websites are all hosted for free.
Yeah, maybe in the future we'll open up some kind of way that you guys can support
Yeah.
the project if you want to. But you know, we're not doing it to make money, so that's
Yeah.
something that we'll discuss
And
later.
also, it's kind of like you're committing even more. And I don't think we can just do that because we all work for a living.
Yeah. If we take money,
Yeah.
we have to actually work hard, and that like no one wants to do that. Especially not me.
You're not even working full time.
We
All right.
work.
we all work. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being here, and for answering all these questions. And thank you, Twitch chat, for being here, and for following and everything.
Yeah.
We'll see you on Discord, I
Thank you
guess.
for hosting us.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
See you all on Discord.
Thank you.
See you
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.